Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action here tonight for the Pro-Am League here at Monza. Night 2 racing here at the Temple of Speed, and we're going to bring you all the action tonight. And what a night's worth of racing we have ahead of us. Sadly, I missed obviously the first round of the season, but nonetheless, we will get things underway here at Monza for the next round of the season, and the first round where we will see the reverse grid as well. Yeah, should be an interesting night's worth of racing indeed. Welcome to a very, very hot UK though. Very, very warm. I've currently got an ice cream at the minute just to try and cool me down, and the temperatures are going to get hot on the circuit as well. Even though it's currently 13 degrees, there's still going to be some hot racing going on as well. So currently on the grid, fastest at the moment is the Team Audio Sport driver of Kneebone, ahead of Lee. Then it's Bolton in that third place position. The block is currently in P4 with Varga sat in P5. That's your top 5 at the minute. And the way tonight is going to where they've currently got a free practice session. Then we go into the reverse sprint race, which is going to be changed for this season. Obviously this season it is going to be done with the category split. As you can see, we got silver and bronze currently on circuit. The silver cars will start to the front and their grid will be reversed as well. So from obviously the leader of the championship will be put to the back of the silver category, but stay ahead of the bronze category. Okay, the bronze drivers will go to the back, and again their grid order will be reversed as well. So a new way of doing the reverse grid this season, and an interesting way of how we're going to do it, and we'll see if it actually works out or not. That's should hopefully give us some interesting driving for sure. Like I said, it's very, very warm here in the UK at the minute, so I apologise if I stop to get a drink every now and then. But let's see you guys in the chat. Great tips in the chat saying good evening all, and good luck to all the drivers as well. A chaotic night last night for the Ginettas. Are we going to get the same for the Pro-Ams? That is the question. And also we'll have a quick rundown as Langley now goes second. He was second. He took his maiden win last time out at Zolder in race 2. It's all really close at the minute, down to 15th place, down to Johnson. It's separated by a second, so shows how competitive this Pro-Am category is. And again, I will try my best to get all of the action when I can, but because this category is so tight and so compact, it is going to be very difficult to get all of the action. Right, finally finished my ice cream, so we can talk a bit more now. So, championship standings looks like this. Langley leads away from Fandango in second. Flores sits third with Unsworth in fourth. Wolfsky started in 5th place, while in 6th is Varga. 7th is Lee with Oldham Racing 8th. Bolton 9th with Vitas in 10th. Aberdeen 11th. Williams 12th with Goodwill in 13th. Bell in 14th. Ritchie in 15th with Dempsey in 16th. Saunders is then ahead of Greaves in 17th and 18th place position. And then we've got Nuclear Waste in 19th with Craig in 20th. Johnson 21st with Argent 22nd. Nebo in 23rd with Taylor 24th. We've got DJ Phil 25th with Smith in 26th. Archer in 27th. Williams 28th. Marshall in 29th. Clarble in 30th. Clarble in 30th with Wheel in 31st. Betterson 32nd with Best in 33rd. Roy 34th with Andrews in 35th. Leach 36th. Hickson 37th. Wasaki 38th. Tucker 39th. KLF and all the rest. The block, Marston and a few others star as well, still yet to get off the mark here in the Pro-Am category. And as you can see there, Kneebone has improved and got a little bit quicker, so more time for the boys to try and find here to get on pace with him. That Ferrari looking competitive. Ferrari have only taken wins at the minute in the Pro-Am category, but it looks like they have a threat from McLaren. Mac in the chat, hello SimPlay and chat. I'll be here till I have to get back to work. Good luck, drivers. Nice to have you in the chat, Mac, and hope you are well, my friend. And let's hear you guys as well in the chat. And also, how do we think of Monza? Do we think it's going to be a good event? Oh, we think it's going to be a bit of chaos. Nebo in there, Pratt's in the pit lane. Let's have a look at a few other drivers as well. We have on the grid, let's have a look who's currently on chat. There's Klarbel. We'll go on board with him. Regarding the team's championship, while we are on board with him, it's a bit different to the so there we go. No gas, no glory. Currently leads the way with 26 points ahead of Greasy Bandits Racing. Then it's 4Cube Motorsport ahead of Cloud9 Racing with OWR Racing in P5. Black and Blue Racing P6 with Sordor Racing in P7. Then you got NLR Racing in P8 with SimPlay Racing in P9. Team Audio Sport sat in P10 with Rapid Rabbits in that P11. Lexi Industries in 12th with Merlot in 13th. 2C's Racing in 14th place position. Then we have Team GBR in 15th, OGR in 16th, Quantum Motorsport in 17th, and then we got Team BSR 18th, and Wasakid Racing still yet to score a point. So now we have got that over and done with. Let's see how the rest of the night pans out. It's going to be very, very interesting racing as well. We've got a new Lamborghini driver here with us. I think that's Gabino. Again, anyone, if I get anyone's names wrong, or if anyone knows that I pronounced them wrong, please let me know and tell me how to pronounce it, so for next time I'm able to do a better job. But I'm going to go with Garibo. Yeah. Gabino. We'll go with that. Gabino currently at the minute in 21st position. Anyone else in here that I have not seen before? Well, Langley now goes fastest of the session. Flores there currently in P5. And it's going to be interesting. A lot of the drivers in the Pro-Am category ended up being moved from the Pro-Am category up into the Pros. So this is a great opportunity for these drivers. Obviously, if the pace does improve and they get close to the Pro pace, then they may be looking for a promotion up into the next season. Which I myself, it's a great pleasure racing in the Pro category, the fastest of them all. And really teaches you a lot. Obviously, it's going to be an interesting season for the Pros, a big category for a while that we've had, but the Pro-Ams has always been stacked, has always been quick, and we'll see how it all pans out. We now come to the end of the session. We're currently on board with Argent, sat 11th overall at the minute. And we'll see if he's on an improvement. More likely, this is a good opportunity to then get your pit stops practiced, know where your braking point is, know where to press the pit limiter if you've got a press limiter button. Some do, some don't. And a reminder as well, if you do like what you see here at SimPlay Motorsport, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Racing, at SimPlay Motorsport. And also a massive thank you to our sponsors as well, Design Manchester and Audio Sports. All their information are in the link below. So yeah, our fantastic sponsors. And if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, if you want to be on the grid, then head over to our SimGrid. And you can get yourself signed up there and be a part of the Discord. And as you can see, all the drivers are now to the grid. We'll go with the Helicam. We've got a couple of cars missing, but it will be the block on pole position with Klarbel, and then it's going to be Williams behind them as well. Argent's there, as is 2C Johnson Racing, as well as Johnson, Taylor, all some pretty fast guys. And we've got a couple of guys in the middle as well. And as you can see, it's all the silvers to the front. New guys go to the back of the pack as well. And then after that, we have got the bronze category as well. So the block on pole position in the McLaren will get a poll going for you guys on who you think is going to win the sprint race. Come on, guys, let's hear you in the chat. There's not a lot of chat at the minute. We'd love to see you in the chat. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell them that we're live at SimPlay Motorsport. And we're going to got some great action here at Monza. We're going to get more chaos. That is the question. I'm trying to currently type, commentate, and do everything at once. 10 seconds, final chance for these guys to get their setups done and dusted. If I'm going to go the way of a winner for this one, I'm possibly going to be looking at... I'm thinking Clarball is probably the one to look for in this one. Let's hear what you guys think in the chat. I have, like I said, got a poll going in a few seconds. So you can vote on who you think is going to win this one. As they now pull away from the grid, we will now get our grid order on the screen. New graphics here for Monza. Thank you to Hypertech and Matthew Duffin. But here is the order. It is going to be the block from Roy, from Clarball, from Williams. Then it is going to be Argent, then Johnson. Followed by, on the fourth row, will be Craig and then Taylor. Then on to row 5, we've got Waste and then Greaves. Row 6 will show the way of Saunders and Ritchie. Row 7 will be Bell and Williams. Row 8 will be Kneebone and then Varga. Row 9 will be Aberdeen and then Vitus. Row 10 will have Old Sim and Lee in 20th position. Row 11 will be Wolski and Bolton. Row 12 will see Unsworth and Flores. Row 13 is then Fandango and Langley. And then coming to the end of the grid, Gabino there in the back of the pack. Then into the bronze, we've got Bestie and Wheel going to be starting alongside each other for 29th and 30th. 31st will be Marshall and then Archer for 32nd. 33rd will be Smith and then DJ Phil rounding out the back of the grid. And that is your grid order for this round. And it is the block who will be starting on pole position. Majority of you already reckoning that S. Williams is favoured 2 to 1 at the minute, going the way of that. Like I said, guys, let's hear you in the chat. See if there's any weekly roundup. No, there is not. So nothing new to say and nothing new to put in. But who is going to come out on top? That is the question. Who is going to take the sprint win? Like I said, let's hear from you guys. So come and support your drivers. Get to be a part of the action here. And let's go racing at the Temple of Speed. As we're now getting into the back straight. A couple of cars did not make the start of the grid. Who was that? That was Waste and Ritchie did not make the start. So they will be starting from pit lane. Not necessarily a bad thing. Could avoid all the chaos and trouble. As they now come down to the famous corner of Parabolica. It's an all-British manufacturer front row. McLaren versus Aston Martin. De Block versus Clarball. Who's going to win this race? Who is going to take the spills here at Monza? And then a long feature race to come. But the sprint is first. As it now round out of the final corner, we are now going to wait for those famous words in racing. We are going to wait for the green flag to be dropped so we can go around the Italian super circuit. We now wait for the green. We are green and go. Obviously, pit window open instantly. This gives us a great opportunity then to head down towards turn number 1. Any incidences, they can pit relatively early as they head now down towards the first corner. And it is the block who's had the good start that he needs as we now head into turn number 1. And there already, Monkey Boy getting caught up and taking out Argent as well, being caught up in the middle of that as everyone else tries to funnel their way through turn number 1. And we got Lee coming into the pits for some reason, possibly dropped it on his own, and there's absolute carnage as everyone else tries to get into position and try and find a little bit of racing room as Archer's dropped to the back. Any other chaos as everyone else who's in pit lane has now come out, but it's the block who leads the way from a great start from him as they now head towards the final part of the first sector. We've already got a drive through. That is going to be a Richie for speeding in the pit lane. Not the start he probably would have wanted, but Clarble now losing the touch to the block at the minute, and Williams just behind them. We've then got Johnson, Saunders, then it's going to be Taylor and Kneebone, then Greaves, Craig there just behind them. Then we got Benny Varga, Aberdeen onto the back of the McLaren of, not sure which McLaren that is. That is Craig, so he's not had a great start. Looks like a Ferrari there getting a little bit loose. That was Langley who looked a little bit loose, but your leading bronze driver at the minute looks to be Smith. So Smith's had a great start here as they now head towards the Ascari chicane. They're all relatively clean through Ascari, and as we can see here, Williams now on the attack, looking to attack Clarble as they head down towards the Parabolica. As they go side by side, Williams can't quite go around the outside. He's going to try and get a better lunge, a better exit, but Clarble with the tighter line holds onto the position, and Williams has to fall back. Meanwhile, Johnson's under pressure from Saunders. Then Taylor's dropped down the order as well, and that's allowed Kneebone up into position. And watch out for that Lexus of Greaves and obviously Fandango as well. That's S2M Buridex. Those Lexuses are very fast in a straight line, but as you can see, Saunders now looking to the outside of Johnson, but can't quite get the job done there. I'll have to try something different a little later on as the block pulls away. Clarble, meanwhile, still trying to hold off Williams. So they got a little bit of a gap. Kneebone, come pretty much mid-pack, has had a great start and is already trying to attack the back of Luke Saunders. Meanwhile, Greaves in the Lexus. That very, very fast Lexus is now looking to the inside of Kneebone. Late on the brakes, and he will go down the inside, and job done there. Greaves makes the position. And Kneebone there having to be patient and wait. Meanwhile, further back, what else is happening? We're on board with Vitas. He's going very defensive. He's got Old Sim Racer. He's got No Gas, No Glory right behind him. And Unsworth just there as well. The 22 speeding in the pit lane. That is Storak. He's now got to stop and go. Sorry, that's Argent. He's got to stop and go now. So, and Richie's been disqualified for some reason. Not sure why or how. And there we see Wolfsky now on the move, attacking the inside of Craig. Can't quite get the overlap that he needed. But through the chicane they go. And so far, so good if you are the block leading the way at the moment with a good pace. And there, Wolfsky goes wide, but uses it as an advantage. And there in the background is a car facing the wrong way. It's not an Kneebone, it's another McLaren. Who is it? It's Bell. Bell's facing the wrong way. I think he's managed to get going. No, he hasn't. And Bell just struggling to get himself back around as Williams just dropped off the back of Clarble by the looks of things. Now, that is Saunders now getting past Johnson. So Johnson now losing a position as Saunders is on the move. Greaves, meanwhile, and Kneebone have both pitted. And in the pits they come. Wolfsky now trying to hunt down the two in front. We've got this close fight between Aberdeen, Craig, and Vitas. Very close racing already. And we've got Unsworth right on the back of this group as well. Old Sim Racer not too far behind as Grabino is on the back of Smith. In the other Lamborghini, nice to see some more Lamborghinis on the grid. Leading the bronze class is Smith in a minute, and Lexi currently sat in that P2. With Wheel now just behind them. We've got Andrews, Archer, and DJ Phil on the bad bestie, not having the best of starts, so he's dropped to the back as well, with Bell in the middle of all that as well. But your leading pitter at the minute is Greaves, and he exits turn one. He's got a nice little gap actually that he's fallen into. But right now with the block, comfortable lead out in front, ahead of Clarble. and then ahead of Williams, ahead of Saunders. Your next closest out fight is probably Wolski now onto the back of Johnson. Now, with Greaves pitting relatively early, it's giving him that clean air, no traffic, so he's now able to really attack the track now with no traffic in his way. Can he bring the gap down to the leaders? I'll try to keep an eye on other positions being made, as Kneebone actually is giving Greaves a little bit of a hard time. So Sam Greaves there, who wanted that clean air, has got now Kneebone breathing down his neck. So we'll see how these two get on. Is any of the leaders wanting to pit? No, they're not. They're all staying out. And Williams now under some pressure from Saunders. Here comes Saunders down to turn number 1. Williams not wanting to defend. He's later on the brakes, keeps the racing line and makes the corner and keeps the BMW behind. As Argent now clears his stop and go. And Williams there extends the gap after having a better exit by the looks of things. A few more in the pit. Aberdeen's pitted, as is Johnson and Smith. And there Vitas actually now ahead of Unsworth. So I don't know if Unsworth's had a moment or something. He's dropped down the order a little bit. Gone a little bit deep into the chicane. But again, the block still leads the way quite comfortably. Meanwhile, Greaves has lost out to Kneebone. So Kneebone has gained the position there. And there we see Bolton and Langley looking like they're awkwardly exchanging places there. And looks like Bolton now is pulling away from Langley. Langley sets fastest lap of the race. Purple sector for him. We'll go back to the bronze fight, as Andrews is onto the back of Bell, and Bell's chasing DJ Phil down. And then we got Archer onto the back of Lee. Lee's struggling a little bit, as Lexi Marshall doing quite well at the minute in that 12th place position. Obviously, pit stops yet to come. The block now exits the final corner, and looking like he's wanting to pit, and he does. Gary Clarball now exits the final corner and chooses to stay out. Williams, meanwhile, has extended the gap to Saunders, and Saunders now thinks this is the best time to pit. With Wolski staying out and Craig, in comes old Sim Racer. And make sure you get that car stopped, make sure you reach the point. But Kneebone now comfortably pulling away from Greaves now. Varga was in the leading group, and he's actually dropped further back. So the undercut seems to be working for the guys in the leading group. And Kneebone extending that gap at the minute. The block has gone green now. So where will Kneebone fit in after all this? The block now coming to the end of the pit lane. There is Kneebone. I don't think he's going to get the block, but I think he should be able to get Saunders. Saunders not yet off the limiter. There is the block. And out he comes. There is Kneebone and Greaves. They've had a great stop, and they're going to jump the rest of the pack as well. So if these guys do not come in and pit now, they're going to lose out to the guys who pitted early. So Kneebone, with a brilliant strategy there, gets in and out, and is now behind the race leader. Back towards the front, Vitas now trying to get onto the back of Craig, and we've got Unsworth just behind them as well. Not really close fight in there, as Flores makes a position on the Lamborghini. Garbino there trying to fight back in the Lamborghini, looking down the inside. Is he going to try and be late on the brakes? No, he's not. He falls back into position, and Flores gains that position. Meanwhile, side-by-side action, Saunders, and now we've got Langley, and Langley gets the position, and through he goes, trying to stick to the back of Bolton. And like I said, these guys pitting early, getting that clean air, has worked for them a treat. As you know, we see Clarball coming in and Williams. But continue on through is the two McLarens of Vitas and Craig. They're thinking, let's use the clean air while we can. They pretty much have until the end of the race to get in and pit, and Wolski also choosing to stay out as well. And Bestie now just onto the back of John Andrews as the leader now catches onto the back of him. There goes down the inside is De Block wanting to get back past Bestie. Bestie, if he wanted to pit, was in trouble there. Best not able to do it. Nebo now staying in the tow of Best. That's going to help him out. Go against Block, but now they go side by side, and Nebo gets the job done. But there's Clarball. Clarball now just comes out in front of him. Is he going to stay out in front? No, he's not, as Nebo will get the job done. Brilliant racing. De Block there, and Greaves just taps the back of Clarball. Clarball loses momentum, and Greaves now, he loses even more momentum. But brilliant driving from all those guys. And Best now, obviously he's in a racing position. He's not a blue flag. He doesn't need to get out of the way. This is for position, but Nebo is being held up by Best here, and this is for the technically for the race lead. And Greaves now down the inside of Clarball, gives him a bit of a shove. Now Varga goes through, and Gary Clarball keeps the position after being a little bit pushed off wide there, and Greaves now in a little bit of trouble. Nebo no, still got Block right behind them. Vitas, meanwhile, is going side by side with Craig as they head down towards the Parabolica. Around the outside goes Vitas as Craig pulls to one side. Wolfsky now, does he choose to pit? Yes, he does. Now, it should be interesting to see where he pans out in all this, as the two McLarens now look like to pit. Yes, they do. It's now just Flores, Lee, Archer, Best, all still yet to pit, as does Waste as well. So there's a real tight grab in the midfield. They're all cars off everywhere, and that is Bolton and Langley both off, and that helps out Williams to go through. And Saunders not quite able to get Langley as well. Or as Wolfsky there, Saunders gets relatively close there. Langley still fastest lap of the race to his name. Car gone off, defending from Kneebone. That's going to help De Block get close again. There is Wolfsky, and he has not lost out, but he stayed with him, and De Block's going to go down the inside. Kneebone has nowhere to go. They stay side by side, and Kneebone's going to hold on to the position. But again, De Block looking to get on the inside. Some great racing here. And now Wolfsky, Varga, Greaves, and who's that as well? That's I think Clarball as well, just onto the back of this group, and it's all being held up by Best at the minute. Oh, Wolfsky looked like he missed the brakes there, nearly hitting the back of De Block, but he doesn't manage to do so. Varga also quite close. Williams goes a little bit wide, and that gives an opportunity for Langley to come through. So Williams, oh, he's losing the back end, but he keeps it together and just manages to stay ahead of the BMW of Saunders and also old Sim Racer, who's having a great race as well, really cutting it with the guys in front. But Kneebone, has he cleared Best yet? No, he has not, and this is really holding up the pack. Best defending the inside. Has he now gone too deep? He has gone a little bit too deep, and again, it just backs the pack up. This might help Flores out, but I don't think it will. Flores into the pits, and the whole pack is relatively close to one another. Anything can still happen. Best is going to have to bit this lap, and around the outside goes De Block. Best makes contact with him. Oh, and De Block loses the back end. Kneebone and De Block going side by side. Best has to pit. Now he does, and De Block retakes the lead. Flores now coming out of pit lane. He's not going to be in this fight as Kneebone now going towards turn number one. De Block defends the inside. To the outside goes Kneebone. Is he going to get the job done? No, he's not. And Kneebone has to wait a little bit later on. Oh, 888 there, stop and go. That's Lee. Oh, shame for Lee there, because he looked like he was in a good position. As Langley now is on to the back of Gary Clarball. We look back to the leaders, and De Block has pulled away there. Langley now looking to the inside. Can't quite get the job done there. Has to fall back into position 79. That is Best for speeding in the pit lane. And there Flores ends up in 9th. Saunders there losing a position to Varga. And Varga makes another place up there. So all the positions now should be up to date, as Wolfsky looking like he's got a little bit of pressure from him from Clarball and Langley. So some awesome racing between all of the drivers. Williams now under some pressure from Varga, who's right behind him. Is he going to try and send it into the Ascari chicane? No, he's not. Oh, he's ended up losing the rear end, but we go back to the front because Kneebone, I think, has dropped it. Where's Kneebone? We've lost Kneebone. I think he's disconnected. But either way, it is going to be a De Block to take the win here. Ahead of Wolfsky, ahead of Klarbel, ahead of Langley. Old Sim Racer for 5th, Vitas for P6, Onsworth P7. Flores is going to finish at P8 ahead of Aberdeen, a top 10 for Williams. Then it's going to be Varga in 11th. Then it's a drag race between Fandango and Bolton. Fandango gets it ahead of Grabino, Craig. Then it's going to be Lee, who's got to stop and go. Marshall actually up into 17th place position, as Lee is going to gain some time, lose some time, as actually Archer gets ahead of Lee. Here comes Lee, time added on for sure, 60 seconds. So Smith will move up. Oh, when we see here, Greaves with more damage to his car. As he comes to the line, he's now obviously lost out to Best, who has a 60 time penalty. Johnson, Greaves, Taylor from Andrews. And then it's going to be Bell from Waste, from DJ Bill, who's ended up in the wall. Then it's going to be Wheel in that 29th position, and then Argent in 30th. We're losing Kneebone right at the very end there, but it is De Block who takes the first win tonight, and we'll be back after this very short break. Sorry, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport. I had myself on mute then. Brilliant. I always forget that sometimes the computer's on mute. Not the computer, the controller. So, fantastic. I was reading the championship standings, and yeah, that was a waste of time. Langley leads the way ahead of Wolski, ahead of Unsworth, Flores, Fandango with Old Sim Racer, Vites in P7, Vanga in P8, Varga P8, Aberdeen P9 with Bolton P10, Lee in P11 with Saunders in P12, Crabble in P13, De Block 14th with Bell in 15th, S. Williams in 16th with P. Williams in our 17th place position, then Craig in 18th, 19th is Greaves, 20th Goodwill with Johnson in 21st. Then we got Archer in 22nd, leading a bronze driver ahead of Ritchie in 23rd. 24th is Dempsey, Smith in 25th, Taylor 26th. 27th is Waste, Argent is 28th, Marshall 29th, Kneebone 30th after that disconnection. DJ Phil now in 31st with Greebone in that 32nd position. Wheel 33rd, Johnson 34th, Best 35th, Best in 36th, Roy 37th. And that is your point scorers at the minute. Regarding the teams, it looks like this. No Gas, No Glory still leads the way ahead of Cloud9 in P2. P3 is the Greasy Bandits Racing. P4 going away of 4Q Motorsport ahead of NLR Racing. OWR Racing in P6 with Soldor in P7. Black and Blue Racing P8 with Team Audio Sport P9. Lexi Industries in P10 with SimPlay Racing in 11th. 12th is Merlot. 13th is GBR Team with 14th 2Cs Racing. 15th is Rapid Rabbits GT with OGR in 16th, Quantum Motorsport in 17th, and then the rest are not scored a point yet. So those are the championship standings, and we are coming to the halfway stage of qualifying. No real lap times on the board yet, as Kneebone has managed to get back into the session, and by the looks of things, his game just decided to give up on him. Gotta love that, haven't you? When your game decides it doesn't want to play ball no more. As now we head into the Parabolica. Lexi seems particularly happy, first in class and a qualifying ban, so that's what you get for retiring. And now comes to the line Bolton. Can he set the pace? And he does a 48.6, a good benchmark. So there, Bessie comes to the line, Bell goes into P3, now Kneebone sets the pace to 48.0. A good lap time around here is probably in the 47s. Will we get to that pace? That is the question. And to the line, Langley only goes P6 on that one. And Lee now splits Clarball and Kneebone still setting that good lap time, and Greaves, there you go, a 47.7, a great lap time there in the Lexus as well, so the straight line helping him out massively there. And to the inside goes Wolski there, a little bit of a race in there. He's currently P10 at the minute, so trying to get some clean air possibly. We got the 62, I believe, coming to, is that a 62? Or 63, that's 63. Old Sim Racer coming to the line. And he does not put a lap time on the board. That's the 58. That is John Andrews, just ahead of a Ferrari. I don't know who that is, but John Andrews to the line. No lap time on the board. That is Wheel crossing the line. And then we look towards the front again. 159. That is Nuclear Waste. That is DJ Phil crossing the line. He goes 22nd. What did Waste do? He went into 11th place position. So now we got the 771. The 771? No, 777, sorry. That is Bolton towards the line. He now puts himself into third place. So good lap time from him. And the lap times are going to come in thick and fast now. We go on board with Benedict Varga, who's now exiting the final corner. Kneebone improves by 1,000th of a second, but not enough to put him higher. Vitas now goes into P5. What does Benny Varga do? Smith now goes into 21st. Varga stays 28th. And here they all flooding past. That is Langley, and he goes P2 with that one. So good lap time from him. Richie, in the end, only 10th place position for him. They'll try and get cars coming out the final corner. We got Wolfsky here, who's got the quick Sam Greaves behind him. Obviously backed off because Wolfsky kind of sent it into turn one, and he did not improve in the end. So hopefully a little bit of improvement from there. Taylor now goes into P20. Argent at the minute struggling silver as we see another car improve there. And that was Gabrino, who improves to 19th place position. And now we look to the 63. That is Old Sim Racer. Has he now put a lap time on the board? He does, and that's a good lap time as well. Where does it put him? It puts him into P12. So a solid lap time there from him. Kneebone looking like he's got a little bit of traffic. Who is coming to the final corner, or the line? The 666. No, I can't find that. The 159. So many numbers, I can't keep up. The 159. Lost the 159, so I'm going to have to give up on that one. We're on board with the AAA of Lee, currently P5 at the minute, crosses line, no improvement. And Bolton behind him either does not improve. Little bit of traffic for one another. The 84 block, currently P7. Greaves back to the pits. Can he get out quickly enough? That is the question. As we've got Langley now exits the final corner. Expect the pros to be in the 46s. And to the line, Langley does not improve. Richie does, though. He goes to P8 and then gets bettered by Aberdeen. Varga, I think, improved. No, was that Klarball? Sorry, Klarball improves to P10. So Flores now coming into the Parabolica. And these guys are going to get their last opportunities here. To the line now come Flores. And Flores there in 13th place position, 1-1-4. That quickly changed. I don't know where that number's gone. That was Onsworth and goes into P6. And once again, we got the 661. That is Wheel into Parabolica. He goes a little bit too much inside curb by the looks of things there. And he only goes 27th on that one, no improvement. 84 coming to the line, that is the block. Is he going to improve? Currently P10, no improvement for him either. Greaves did get back out, but this is going to kind of be it for him as Lee now crosses the line and goes into P3. Bolton crosses the line, no improvement either from him. So just struggling to get those last little bits of seconds now. Here comes Kneebone, any improvement? Yes, he goes P2 with that lap time. Vitas, improvement there. Benny Varga does improve as well, so lap times are improving. The track is ramping up. Now's the time to be on the circuit. Anyone else coming into the final sector now? There is Greaves starting his final lap. I think the number 18, I think that is, yes, it is Flores exiting the Parabolica. He will not get another lap in, so this will be it. To the line he comes, Flores, 16th, only finds one position. Now, who is that into the final corner? It's 999. That is Gabino coming into the final corner. Looking like a pad driver. You can see the movement there. He comes to the line, a 23rd at a minute, but he pits. He chooses to stop. And the 63 of Old Sim Racer now goes up into P5. A good improvement there. Bolton, though, trying to get a few more tenths out of this. Sam Greaves, though, on provisional pole position in the Lexus. We got the 58, that is John Andrews in the final corner now. Can he improve, or is he opting to pit? He's going to the line. Any improvement on this? No, he stays where he is. Now Bolton to the line. Any improvement for Bolton? He takes pole position by 1/1000th of a second. Right at the very end there. Argent finally gets out of the bronze category. He now goes up a position. What does Kneebone do? Has he found more time? Is he going to steal pole position away? No, he's not. Vitasto goes into P4. We've got the 229 coming to the line. I don't see the 229. No, I don't. And that will be that. Wolfsky now in the Parabolica. Sounds like Lamborghinis galore as DJ Phil crosses, Van Dango goes 17th. Williams then goes into 9th. And after all of that, it is Bolton who takes pole position by 1/1000th of a second. Sam Greaves must be absolutely annoyed with that. Pole position snatched away by 1/1000th of a second. That is mad. Feature race now coming up after all the hard work of that qualifying session. Is it going to pay off? That Lexus is very good in a straight line. That Ferrari is going to struggle to keep it behind. But if anyone can probably do it, it's Bolton. Guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And if you like what you see and you want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to our sim grid. Get yourself signed up. Make sure you get your hot stints done, because if you do not get your hot stints done, then you will not be able to be categorized in the right category. Even if you're doing GT4s, we still want you to be categorized for any events so we can make sure that you are in the correct category. Every driver has a ranking and has a positioning, so make sure you do that. Poll has gone up for who you think is going to win this one. Bolton, Greaves, Kneebone or Vita. So obviously if you think otherwise and think is not one of these drivers, then please, guys, feel free to put it in the chat. Chat is very quiet tonight. Is it just because I'm on my own? I do not know why. But guys, let's hear from you as we get things ready to go for this next race. Ten seconds before these guys will then come off the grid and start the formation lap. For now, what used to be an hour-long race is now an hour and 10 minutes. A long, long race ahead. Can Bolton hold off the might of that Lexus? Or can Sam Greaves capitalize? Will they come together, and will someone else be able to pick up the pieces? Guys, get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. I'm going to look the way of Greaves on this one. I think the Lexus, obviously I know that car inside and out, and I think it's got a great opportunity here. The fastest circuit, not great on the brakes, that's its hindrance. But nonetheless, it is a very fast and very powerful car. Reminder as well, if you haven't done so, have a look in the description for our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sports. They produce amazing products as well, so have a look at their Facebook page, their websites as well. And also make sure as well, if you are a Patreon and haven't done so already, then please tag SimPlay Motorsport in your posts, and then you will be able to then post all of your social media stuff onto the main page itself. Like I said, if you haven't done all that already, get yourself an ice cream, get yourself comfy, get yourself comfortable, because this is going to be an entertaining hour and 10 minutes for sure. And I said, I apologize to everyone who, if I did not get your races, then please, I apologize. There's so many cars on track, and just myself giving you all the action is, I try my very best to get you all the action as they get themselves all lined up, ready to go. I'm sure you will tune in tomorrow as Sweet and Sticky will be back in your box. That is Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis bringing all the action for the pros as well. They're going to come in thick and fast. The pros 46s is what I'm expecting from those guys. It's going to be very, very quick indeed. But we now exit Ascari chicane. That means they're all going to start feeding into position. And we'll be able to get things underway once again midway through this week. And this time it's a Ferrari versus a Lexus on the front row. For Italy versus Japan. Bolton versus Greaves. Who is going to come out on top? That is the question. I'm looking forward to this one. This should be good. This should be exciting. As they now make their way through Parabolica. Let's go to the helicopter cam. Ready for the action. 1 hour and 10 minutes worth of racing. OWR Racing versus 4Q Motorsport. Who's going to come out on top? They line side by side. We now wait for the green. We are green and go, and Bolton gets a good start pulling away, and Kneebone gets an initial good launch as well as Vitas not able to go in, and Bolton there being hunted down there. The Lexus extending its legs, looking to go towards turn number 1, and Kneebone looking to go around the outside, and actually goes between them and makes contact with them. Bolton goes off, Greaves has to go straight on as well, and that was even more chaos behind. Absolute chaos behind. What on earth happened there? Blocks off, Taylor's off. Who else is there? Williams is involved. Absolute carnage. And Greaves and Bolton, meanwhile, have also been caught up in Kneebones, and it's Vitas who leads. More action going over through the second chicane. That was Langley going over the curb quite aggressively. And there is Greaves. He's dropped further back. He's now behind Ritchie. An absolute chaos once again. Wheel leads the bronze fight, and there's more bronze fight going on further back. More chaos, more drama as we get things underway here. Waste was caught up in it. Johnson and also Williams, De Block and Taylor all caught up in all those incidents. Wolski returning back to pits. He has to get back on track to score some points. But it's Vitas leading the way ahead of Kneebone, ahead of Bolton. Considering he had got caught up in the incident, he hasn't lost too much. Yes, he's lost the lead, but the leaders are only just ahead. But Langley now onto the back of the fellow Ferrari driver on home circuit for Ferrari. They go side by side. Langley, your championship leader, going down the inside of Bolton. And job done for him, and Vargas had a good start. Old sim racer Ritchie, and then Greaves. Hopefully Greaves hasn't got too much damage, can work his way forward. As there Saunders now gets past Aberdeen as everyone else starts to fan their way through. Fandango going past around the outside of Craig by the looks of things, and he'll use that Lexus power. Look at it pull from the rest of the cars. And down towards turn number 1 they go. Argent by the looks of things ended up in the chaos as well. He's actually dropped to the back of the pack. So he's had a moment through Ascari. And it sounds like we've got more chaos happening into the chicane. We've got Craig there going side by side with Unsworth. Oh, there's panels here, there, and there. Ritchie's gone off, and Unsworth's got nowhere to go. He's got absolutely no, he had to lift there. There's cars everywhere. Just behind them is Bell, who's also trying to find his way through. There's Lamborghinis and McLarens absolutely everywhere. There's no point flashing your lights, boys. Let's get on with it. Down the inside, Ritchie attempts, and Craig just about gives him racing room, but Ritchie goes wide, and now comes Bell looking to go the inside. He can't find a way through. Meanwhile, back to the front is Vitas and Kneebone. Varga has got past Bolton and Langley. Where is Bolton? There he is. He's dropped down the order furthermore. And he's now behind both of the NLR racing duo of Aberdeen and Clarball. Some great racing between them, but Kneebone there takes the lead of the race away from Vitas. And now pulling away from the red McLaren. Vitas now just staying in the slipstream. Kenny looks to the inside of Parabolica, but can't get the job done and has to fall back into place. Varga ahead of Langley, ahead of Old Sim Racer. Greaves now working his way through the order a bit more, and Aberdeen and Bolton as well, all close to one another. Further back, we got Fandango looking to make a move on Lee. Oh, that's Craig coming together with Richie. Richie's going to get shot wide, but Craig has lost the rear end. Richie having his own twitch as well, and can't be able to go wheel to wheel with the McLaren. And with the momentum goes to Lamborghini of Richie. We've not even done 10 minutes and it's been absolute carnage. Another car off in the background at Parabolica. That is the 25. That is Taylor. Both of the SimPlay Racing boys having an absolute nightmare tonight. Oh, Unsworth and Craig banging doors there. And Unsworth losing out there. And trying to hold on to the position. Meanwhile, Bell was on the back of Garbino here. And he is just trying to find a way through on the Lamborghini. Can't seem to find the gap. There's a car in pit lane. That is, I think that's Taylor. Yes, it is. No, that's the 117. Is it 117? Something ended in 7, I think. Drop it to the back. That is Wolfsky. Sorry, he's now finally coming out the pit. The pit lane has now opened. And there is Taylor waiting to get into the pit so he can get his stop done. But meanwhile, Kneebone extends the gap ahead of Vitas. And then we got Varga again at Langley. Looks like Fandango made a position there on Lee. Yeah, job done for him. Trying to work his way through the order. Also, I think Sam has returned to the pit lane. He has to get back out. He can't stay there or else he'll get a qualifying ban for the next race, unless he's got major damage. But Kneebone and Vitas now pulling away. That is Langley now got past Varga. We missed that one, but job done for him. Greaves, meanwhile, pulling away from the two NLR racing duo. Bolton now pits, obviously damage to his car quite significantly, getting that opportunity to get in the pits, get the clean air, and start making positions up. And this is with the early pit window, allows drivers to kind of fight back in this. There we got Bell going side by side with Wheel, and also we got Marshall right behind them as well. It was best a little bit further back. Archer just behind as well. So the Bronze having a better race here. The Block have got major damage to the side of his car. As they head now down to the second chicane. Saunders with a bit of damage to his car. A lot of wounded cars in the start of this one, but Kneebone, fastest lap of the race and pulling away from Vitas. Langley in that third place position. A little bit all over the shot there. Then he had a moment through the second Lesmo. But Greaves now, with that Lexus power, is now on the move. He's now chasing down the Ferrari of Old Sim Racer. And what can Greaves do with that Lexus power? Obviously mighty on the straights, a little struggle in the brakes, but he is already onto the back of the Ferrari of Old Sim Racer. Meanwhile, the NRL boys have got their own little scrap. The Audi not too far away on pace with the Lexus in a straight line. Flores not too far behind either, and they're all relatively close. We've got now Richie looking to attack Lee. And Richie looking to go down the inside of Lee, heading down towards the first chicane. And Lee holding on to that position. That looks like Saunders looking to make a move on Unsworth's got past Saunders there. Will and Marshall both getting Bell done, so Bell dropping down the order and struggling at the minute. Best just ahead of Archer. And here is Bell now looking to make a move on Lexi. Lexi trying to hold off the attacking McLaren. Trying to be late on the base, but she's too late. Manages to avoid Wheel, luckily, and goes straight on. And have to give up that time a little bit or take the penalty, but Kneebone extending the gap out in front ahead of Vitas. Langley not able to really do anything about the leaders at the minute, and Varga there in P4, so all relatively stable between these guys at the moment. And Greaves just, I think, struggling with the dirty air a little bit here of old Sim Racer. And then again you got that NLR fight at the minute between those guys. There is Taylor in the middle of them. Lap down, obviously. Vandango trying to work his way up the order. Oh, Ritchie gets a little bit too close to the back of Lee there, and I think Lee's got away with it. Ritchie losing momentum there, and here comes Unsworth. So go back on board with Lee, and once again here comes Ritchie into the slipstream. Should hopefully get the job down into turn number 1. And he does a break later than Lee. Gets the job done and up in position for him. Now Unsworth is looking to make the attack. Can Unsworth find a way through on the McLaren driver? Down the inside of the second chicane. And he can't get the job done there. Meanwhile, Kneebone's gap has kind of stabilized at 2.7. Vitas not able to really go with him at the minute. There's the block in the middle of them. Now the problem with pitting relatively early as well, it gives you the opportunity to be lapped, and then you're not able to really get back into the race. And again, Greaves not able to really do anything with Old Sim Racer. And here we go. There's a scrap going on here. Three-way fight. Gary, Clarbo, Aberdeen, and Flores. All close to one another. And Clarbo has gone wide. Here goes Flores on the attack of Aberdeen. Side by side they go. Audi versus Aston Martin. And Flores trying to get past the Audi driver, but can't do so at the minute. So Aberdeen holding off the charge from Flores. The 77 stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is Saunders, and that's pretty much his race ruin. Bolton, meanwhile, pitted early. Fresh car, fresh, clean air. He's in a beautiful spot right now. He can pump in some really good lap times now. Meanwhile, Greaves is slowly creeping onto the back of Old Sim Racer. Meanwhile, Aberdeen still holding off Flores. Other fights going on in a minute. Lee has now lost out to Unsworth and looking to try and come back if he possibly can. Craig has got the Lamborghini of Greenbow right behind him. Wheel, meanwhile, under pressure from Bell. And Bell can't find the way past on the Ferrari driver. Actually, Lexi has made a position on Wheels, so possibly Wheels made a mistake and has split them. Best pulling away from Archer as now Johnson now splits them. So Johnson now moving up into position as well. What else got going on? Smith trying to hunt down Andrews towards the end of this stint. And Argent, a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of damage to the front of his car. He now comes into the pits. So now Greaves looking on the back of Old Sim Racer, and they've got a car right in front of him, and that is Saunders with damage. Blue flags will be shown, and he'll have to get out of the way. And this is, like I said, this ruins Saunders' race. Whatever strategy he had, and there we go. Old Sim Racer goes round. Greaves gets the position, and there, Old Sim Racer making the mistake. He has to wait for a clear gap now, which you can't find. There's the gap. He just manages just to get away with it. But he's gone round again, sadly, as Kneebone now goes on to another lap, and we're now into the hour. So old Sim Racer dropping down the order. Now Sam Greaves got a little bit of clean air. What can he do with it? That is the question. The one to keep an eye on, though, is Bolton, who's currently down in 26th position, and he is not a lap down, luckily, but he has got all that clean air on, you can see on the map, which is going to help him out massively, get some good lap times on the board. Meanwhile, Clarble has pulled away from Aberdeen. Now Fandango's joined onto the back of this group. Well, close fights we got going on. I think a car has dropped down the order. Nope. No, it's not dropped down the order. I believe Williams has now got back out on track. Yes, he has. All the no points at the minute, but if cars get disconnected, you will be able to score some points. And once again, Aberdeen under some pressure from Flores. Who Aberdeen's doing a brilliant job at the minute, holding these three up and allowing Gary Clarble just to build a little bit of a gap. And Unsworth still got Lee and Craig behind him. Whoa, Taylor there goes straight off into the barrier. Not sure what on earth happened there, but he's ended off massively. Argent's off as well. Oh, he's all over the shot, is Argent, and he's managed to get going as well. But again, Kneebone pulling away from Vitus ahead of Langley as well. So these guys well and truly comfortable at this moment. So we go back to Flores and Aberdeen, who's got Fandango right behind them as well. Flores here trying to get the wrong on the Audi driver. It's going to be incredibly difficult to do so. As like I said, that Audi is very good in a straight line. Very good in a straight line. Also Fandango in the other Lexus, a very fast car in a straight line. Also behind Flores, so it's going to be tricky for him to attack and defend. As he head towards the second chicane. Where else we got fights? Oh, here we go. We got Lee, Craig and Rubino going side by side, and the Lamborghini comes out on top. Craig down, looking back up the inside once again. Can't quite get the run. And now we've also got Alexi Marshall just behind them as well, giving them a hard time. So a great fight between these guys out of the second Lesmo, and you can see Lexi there in the slipstream, got a great run now onto the back of Craig. Like Archer as well and Best quite close to one another. We go back with Lexi though, they're side by side. Craig and Lexi going down the inside, goes Lexi. And job done for her, brilliant stuff from her, and now she's moving away up the pack, up into 14th place position. Possibly Lee is making a mistake there, so that's another position that Lexi can slowly work onto the back to. Flores got a little bit closer to Aberdeen, but seemed to have lost a little bit of momentum there by the list of things. And now back into the clutches of Fandango. Bolton, meanwhile, pitted earlier and has ended up behind. Sorry, has Bell's pitted apparently, so he's not repaired the damage. So Bolton has not really gained too much on that. So where I thought Bolton was going to gain some positions by being in the clean air, not really worked out. So yeah, we'll see what he can still do with that pace though. Marai in the chat, Lexi has found a lovely home at the Aston Martin. Yes, she has, and she has looked very good in it indeed. She's now creeping onto the back of Lee, so she's having a phenomenal job at the minute here at Monza. A very good race one as well, and looking like a very good race two as well. We go back to this scrap between Aberdeen, Flores and Fandango, but more importantly, we've got Johnson now onto the back of Wheel. And Wheel now just under some pressure from Johnson. Johnson not quite close enough though, as DJ Phil has now pitted. Old Sim Racer has pitted hasn't pitted. He's in the pits, he's retired. Unless he gets back out on track, he needs to do so he can score points. And that's what I mean for the likes of the others at the back of the pack, like Williams, Taylor and Wolski. If these drivers keep retiring, that's another position gain. Top 30 score points. And now let's talk about Lexi hunting down Lee. She's right onto the back of him. Into the toe. And can Lexi use the Aston Martin? And Lee struggling with damage on the front end of the car. And Lexi herself has gone very wide. That's going to be a track limit warning. She has to be careful she don't do that one too many times. Lexi now trying to get in a slip machine. Craig's gone with her though, so it might be under some pressure from Craig as well. She has to keep an eye on that. Flores, once again, not quite close enough to Aberdeen, so that fight is just going to have to... it's very stable. I mean, as Flores doesn't help himself by going over the curb. Oh, and Craig spun Lexi round. And Will turns up onto the scene, bounces over the curb. So does Johnson to avoid the incident. And Lexi and Johnson getting close to there. Lexi with possibly some hot rear tyres there, spun round by Craig. So now, as we get to your 15-minute mark, it is Kneebone leading away from Vitus, ahead of Langley, and then ahead of Varga. Greaves in P5, with Grabo in P6. Aberdeen P7 with Flores P8. P9 is Fandango. And rounding out the top 10 is Richie Unsworth in 11th, with Garbino in 12th, Lee in 13th, Wheel in 14th, then Lexi Marshall just ahead of Johnson, and then Craig in 17th. Best is still ahead of Archer in 18th and 19th. 20th is Smith ahead of Andrews. Then you got your pitters of Bell, Bolton, Waste, DJ Phil, Argent, Saunders. Old Sim Racer has got back out on track. Wolski, Williams, and now Taylor is into the pits and retired by the looks of things. But again, he needs to get back out on track. Meanwhile, Flores looks like he's got the run on Aberdeen. Aberdeen may have made a mistake as we were running through the order, but look at that Audi. It's so good in a straight line. It is now going side by side with the Aston Martin. Oh, they get close, and Flores comes off the brake to make sure he gets into the apex first, and he does get the job done, but he needs to make sure he gets a good exit. But here comes the Audi. Will go on board with Sam Greaves while this is all going on. Hearing the roar of the Lexus. And look, the Audi is coming back. Aberdeen's looking to the inside, but thinks better of it and holds back. And looks like Flores there went a little bit deep into the chicane. That's going to compromise his exit, as was Aberdeen's. And Fandango goes down the inside. And job done. Into Lesmo 1. 2 places lost within a lap there for Aberdeen, but Flores goes a little bit wide. So Fandango there just being patient, taking his time, waiting for the opportunity, and there it was. Down the back straight they go. A brilliant move there from Fandango, waited for the prime opportunity, wait for the mistake. There, he'll Constantine it up and pounced when he could. Meanwhile, Archer has now got ahead of Best. Oh, Best just a little bit loose on the rear then, and not able to go with Archer. But these three have been your fight throughout most of this race that we've been able to watch. Everyone else relatively spread out. And down the main straight they go. You can see the Lexus pulling in the Aston Martin, but the Aston Martin able just to stay in front at this stage. Some great racing between these three. Absolutely beautiful to watch. They're heading down to the second chicane. The Aston Martin getting the better grip out of the cars around him. Excuse me. And there you go, Fandango not being able to go with Flores now. So can Flores now do anything about Gary Clark or Aston Martin versus Aston Martin? That would be the next question, as Marshall has now got Johnson for company. They're trying to chase down Wheel, who's just gapped in ever so slightly, and Best is now losing touch with Archer. So we've got Williams there. He's now in 30th position. And that is a point scoring position for him. And once again, Aberdeen and Fandango going at it once again. And that's, like I said, just allowed Flores just to disappear a little bit. Lexi Marshall still got Johnson for company, not quite close enough yet. And Aberdeen not able to really do anything to Fandango. In the slipstream they go. 7/10s, and you can see Flores is just struggling in a straight line compared to these. We look at the Lexus coming in, pulling it in, not quite enough at this stage. Oh, and Aberdeen gets close in the Audi, but not quite close enough. Lexi Marshall, though, looking like she's about to lose out to some slipstream in here from Johnson. Johnson into the toe. Not quite able to get enough here. You've got to look to the inside of turn number one. He's going to be very late on the brakes, but he's not going to do so. And I think Lexi might have got a little bit too deep. Yes, she has. She's has to cut the chicane. And through goes Johnson. And Lexi Marshall losing another position there. Just been outwitted there by Johnson by the looks of things. Fandango, meanwhile, onto the back of Flores once again. So this three-way fight isn't going to end soon. So Flores has used the Aston Martin to his advantage in this sector. So the Aston Martin much better in the corners than the two behind. So these two have just lost a little bit of pace. It was 6/10, 7/10 now. So, you know, Fandango is getting back into that attacking position, but a little bit sketchy through the Ascari chicane. And Aberdeen's had a great run through it. But look, the Lexus should out-drag the Audi, and the Audi in the toe can't, as soon as it pops out, can't do anything about it into Parabolica. So Aberdeen just has to wait for another mistake. Oh, Fandango goes wide. That's the opportunity that Aberdeen needs. They go wheel to wheel, but again, they're going down the main straight. It is going to be Lexus versus the Audi, and look, the Lexus just pulls away. That's how much grunt is in that Japanese car. It is mighty on the straights. Nothing can really compare to it. And there you see the Audi just losing out. And Unsworth there looking like he's under some pressure there by Garbino. Lamborghini driver just minding his own business, working his way first time into the SimPlay Racing category. And has learned very quickly that it's very boisterous in here. Incredibly boisterous. It's old Sim Racer and Argent actually on the same lap here. So there's still positions to be gained as Kneebone clears the traffic and pulls away from Vitas. They've got Langley in that third place position ahead of Varga, ahead of Greaves, who's slowly working his way onto the back of Varga at this rate. Clarkmore in P6. Then we got that mighty fight between Flores, Fandango and Aberdeen. And once again, Aberdeen and Fandango have caught onto the back of the Aston Martin driver. Then there's a bit of a gap back to this man, Ritchie, in P10, rounding off the top 10, ahead of Unsworth and Grabino in that P12. And is under some pressure from the Lamborghini driver. Then we got the McLaren of Lee ahead of Wheel, ahead of Johnson, who's all over the dirt, all over the grass, and is ahead of Alexa Marshall. Then we got Craig as well, Archer, Best, Smith, Bell, and then Bolton ahead of John Andrews, who's returned to the pits by the looks of things. Waste, then DJ Phil, Saunders, Wolski, Old Sim Racer, Argent, and Williams. Oh, your car is currently on track and running at the minute. Taylor back in the pits. Kneebones lost a little bit of time here, so possibly traffic not worked out for him. And Vitas there. Oh, he's had a moment as Argent struggling with grip there. And there Greaves is slowly bringing in Varga. So Varga might be in trouble here. And Fandango has lost the position to Aberdeen. So Aberdeen gets back ahead. Meanwhile, Gravino looking to attack the back of Unsworth. Oh, Ferrari versus Lamborghini. And the Lambo nearly goes round as Alexa Marshall comes into the pits. Once again, these three really giving us the action here tonight. Audi driver trying to put a bit of a gap on the Lexus behind. Since Flores has got past, he's not really been able to do anything. He's not been able to pull away from these guys. And if anything, Gary Klarbel has pulled away from them. So, again, too busy fighting one another. And even with that gap, they've not been able to go and get Klarbel. Klarbel's ran away. Which obviously helps out Klarbel massively, and Aberdeen holding these two up, really allowing them to just disappear. Into the chicane they go, and you can see Aberdeen just having a little bit of a moment through there, and Fandango getting close to him. What else is going out on track as Johnson now onto the back of Wheel. Wheel looking to hold off the Aston Martin, and there Johnson backs off quite early there. Johnson looking to find the way past, but he can't do so at the minute. And once again, Aberdeen and Fandango going at it. Flores has actually pulled a little bit of a gap from them. 1 second gap, and these two just having a great little scrap at the minute. Oh, Fandango there, better exit, better run through Lesmo 2. That's going to give the opportunity side by side as they go underneath the famous old banking circuit. And look, the Lexus is pulling and pulling, and Aberdeen thinks, you know what, better off that, trying to go up the inside into Ascari. And they exchange positions once again. Oh, we see that Aberdeen a little bit of moment through the Ascari chicane, but he seems a little bit more committed, though, than Fandango, as they now head down towards the parabolic corner once again. These two have really been giving us the action here. And here we go, Wheel and Johnson. Johnson going to try and go around the outside of Wheel. Wheel bounces over the curb, and Johnson gets the job done. Position gain for him. Now Aberdeen not quite as close to Fandango this time. Can he pull away and chase Flores finally? Or is Flores kind of in a comfortable position now? That is the question. Into the chicane they go. We're now coming just up to halfway through this race, and Kneebone comfortably out in front, in control, ahead of Vitas, ahead of Langley. And then we got Varga in P4, Greaves P5, Klarbel P6, Flores ahead of Fandango, ahead of Aberdeen. And then round off the top 10 is Richie. Unsworth in 11th ahead of Grabino, who's dropped off the back. Lee ahead of Johnson and ahead of Wheel. Craig in 16th with Archer in 17th place position, ahead of Best and ahead of Smith, who now pits with Bell in 20th position, Bolton in 21st. All this can still change. These are your leading pitters. Waste in 22nd. Oh, that sound like Bolton went off there. Marshall in 23rd, with DJ Phil 24th, and John Andrews 25th, with Saunders in 26th. Wolski still yet to pit, 27th, 28th is Old Sim Racer, Argent 29th, and Williams 30th. Taylor in the pits, and I'm assuming has retired from this one. And he doesn't want to tire on this one because Zandvoort is a pretty tight circuit. As Aberdeen now chooses to pit. Finally, Fandango gives himself a little bit of breathing room, as does Vitus. Vitus is in the pits as well. So some of these drivers, I think, has gone for half and half fuel. Obviously, some of them might have fueled right up for this one. Oh, there's Clarball. Gary Clarball's gone straight on at the chicane. He's obviously got to give that tap back, or he's got a time. He's going to have a track limit warning there. But already, Fandango, with no pressure from behind, is already looking to try and bring that gap down to Flores. Vitus, green and gone again. I'm thinking he's not wanting to take tyres on that one. A track temperature at a lovely 16 degrees. Clarball again, all over the grass. He's losing time and momentum by the looks of things. Wheel now getting ahead of Lee, because Lee has now pitted. And this gap once again concertinaed up. Meanwhile, Varga is under pressure from Greaves here. Sam Greaves now into an opportunity to try and score some more points here. Lexus Power hunting down Varga. Varga, I think, pits. Yes, he does. So some of these guys would have probably started this race on a full tank of fuel. Half of them have gone for half and half. And I think we are halfway through. Drivers are now starting to pit. And this is where we might see some changes in positioning. A little bit of a slide there from the Lamborghini driver. Meanwhile, Aberdeen has jumped Richie. Has Richie repaired the damage? No, not by the looks of things. So Aberdeen gains another position now on Richie, who's in a solid P10. Oh no, sorry, he was already behind Aberdeen. So Aberdeen's actually lost some time in the pits. So Vita's pitting early there. He's now come back out, and Langley hasn't gone green yet. And Langley goes on through. Has Langley decided, I'm going to change some tyres as well? Varga has gone green, so has Clarball, and Langley only now goes green. There is Langley, so yeah, so Langley has lost out to Varga here. So Greaves now with a little bit of clean air. If he's decided to full fuel it and stop with the leaders, he doesn't need to add any fuel to the car. What does Kneebone do? He's got a little bit of side damage, obviously possibly from the start of this race. But Kneebone leading away, fast lap of the race, and he pits. Fandango once again trying to get onto the back of Flores, but a little bit of inconsistency at the minute has allowed him just to pull away. So, strategy now coming in. Vitus is in 9th, and ahead of Archer, ahead of Best. There's Varga. He's only now going through the second chicane. And where is Vitus? Vitus is going through the second Lesmos, so I don't think he's taken tyres, and I don't think he's added much fuel either. So Vitus, if he's gone for that strategy, is looking good. Now we got Langley attacking the back of Varga. And we'll see what Kneebone has gone for. Richie now on the back of Aberdeen as well. So this is where all the action is now going to start happening. Pit stops happening left, right and centre. And he looks for an opportunity but thinks better of it. Down to the inside goes Best to clear a car. I think that is DJ Phil. Where is Vitus? He's now coming into the Parabolica. Greaves has gone through. Kneebone hasn't gone green yet. He has now. So I think Kneebone should be safe. He's near the end of the pit lane. Yes, he is. So Vitus nowhere near Kneebone. And Kneebone will continue on out. in the lead of this race. So Vitas in a solid P2 at the minute. It's where everyone's going to feed out in P3 at the minute, because we've got Varga, Langley going at it tooth and nail here at the minute. And there is Langley right in the toe. Oh, now it's changed as drivers start to feed through. There is Varga. They can't get back into the toe. Can Langley? He has to try and be later on the brakes. He's going to try and do it. Down the inside he goes. Varga is going to have to concede the position, and Langley gets that position back. A little bit of hard work, too much that he probably needed, and he's now got Best in the way as well, so he's going to go around the outside of Best, around the Curva Grande. But Best is fighting it off. As he did in the first race, he's holding on to position. And Langley's looking down the inside and can't get through. This is helping out Sam Greaves massively, this will. Best just holding up the pack now. Who's on the back of this pack as well? I think Vargas there. Klarbel's not far behind. Oh, and there Langley's been tapped by Varga. I think that's an apology flash there. But Bestie once again, kind of the oh, what's the saying? Basically he's in the way. Not in a bad way. He's able to fight it out. He's allowed to fight for that position. It is for race position. Oh, and Langley, you can see he's really getting frustrated behind the back of that Ferrari. Wants to clear him. And in the background is, I think that's old Sim Racer just on the back of him. So he's obviously a lap car and he can't get away. And Langley, oh, he has another moment. Another sideways moment. And Best now losing out to Langley. Is Best now going to pit? No, he's not. He's going to try and stay in the tow. Now Varga's getting involved. Varga now looking to make the move. And here comes Old Sim Racer as well. So Old Sim Racer really a lap car down. Doesn't really want to get involved in this scrap. And Best now falls in position as Varga gets the job done on the brakes. Meanwhile, going side by side is Bolton and Bell. Bell makes the apex of the corner. And I think just behind them is the race leader of Greaves. Yes, it is. So they got to start worrying about green flags as Bolton now looks to the inside of Bell. Guys, hit that like button, smash it through, because these guys have put on some great racing here tonight. And here we go, Bolton side by side with Bell. Bolton should get that job done, as majority reckon Kneebone is going to win this race. And Bolton gets the job done. So Bolton now moving his way forward. Can he gain some more positions? We got Best here now under some pressure once again from Old Sim Racer, as Varga has now lost out to Langley. Flores now pits. But Vitas only within 2.3 of Kneebone. So anything happens in the steward's room, Kneebone may be in trouble. So he needs to start building that gap up. Needs to build the gap up if he possibly can. As he then head down towards turn number 1, Flores in the pits. He was obviously racing with Fandango, who has decided to stay out. So it's a Lexus 1-2 out front at the minute, and they're using the clean air to their best ability. I don't know if Greaves has lost a little bit of time. 7.2 to Fandango, so maybe a possible mistake. Unsworth there ahead of Johnson and ahead of Craig. Archer in P9 at the minute and Best in P10. Obviously, all these guys don't have to pit. They have to pit within the pit window. And at the minute, they are able to keep pushing. Now, Gary Klarbel looking to go around the outside of Best. Gary Klarbel should be able to get the job done. Best tries to brake later and gives the racing room. Klarbel bounces over the curb, but does get the job done. And here comes Flores just behind them as well. best right under pressure here. Meanwhile, we see the Lamborghini of Grabino going across the chicane there. Ritchie is also onto the back of Aberdeen once again. And Aberdeen losing out quite a bit, 12 seconds in the end to Flores, as Johnson now pits. And Flores still trying to get past Best, but can't do so. Aberdeen and Ritchie going at it, not quite close enough at the minute. And now we see Vitas actually bringing the gap down to Kneebone. 2.2 is the gap. And Langley dropping Varga like there's no tomorrow. Best now being overtaken by Flores, and around the outside goes Flores. Job done. Ritchie, meanwhile, not quite close enough to the back of Aberdeen. And Aberdeen pulling away. Johnson in the pit. Craig was just behind him. Meanwhile, your leader is Greaves. Opting for a full tank of fuel, I'm thinking, this one. Comfortably out in front, sticking with the pace. Not been mightily fast since the start of this race, but has been consistently there, so possibly helping him out. The 64, I think, has had a moment through the chicane. No, it's not the 64, it's the 94. That is Williams. He's ended up in the wall. Now he's got to try and get back on circuit as best he can. Monza really not been good to him tonight. And once again, Aberdeen under pressure from Ritchie. Oh, that's another car off. That is the 79. I think that's Best. Yes, it was. Best was off, and he's taking Flores with him, I think. So Flores ended up dropping down the order. Who does that help? Aberdeen, Ritchie. Not quite Grabino there, but in the end, losing out big time. 1.9 now is between Kneebone and Vitas. Vitas is absolutely flying at the minute. And the gap is coming down. They've just split Craig. So it's 1.3 is the gap. And you can see they're quite close to one another. This is going to be an interesting way this race is going to pan out. If the leaders have gone full fuel, which I think they have, the two Lexuses, they only have a couple of seconds stop, and with that stop, it'll be over and done with pretty quick. Argent and Wolfsky are having a fight. And we can see there, Wolfsky looking like he's got a little bit more of an edge on Argent at the minute. This is fighting for 28th and 29th place position. And to the outside goes Wolfsky. That's a brave move. And he'll try and keep it pinned as he goes all the way round. Can't get the job done, so Argent holds on to position. Greaves is now in the pits. Where is Kneebone? He's going through a Ascari chicane. Where's Fandango? He continues on for another lap. There's Kneebone. Where's Vitas? Only now clearing Craig. And obviously, then it's a Langley who's only now coming to Ascari. Greaves has gone green, and that is going to be great for him, as Kneebone, I think, is going to end up behind him. This is going to be incredibly close, I think. We'll go on the helicopter cam. Greaves has gone green. Kneebone's now coming down the main straight. Is he off the limiter yet? Yes, he is. Oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be incredibly tight. Where is Alexis? There it is. Can Kneebone outbrake him? Yes, he can. So Sam Greaves, in the end, going longer, has worked out and put him into a second place position. So Kneebone holds on to the race lead for now. But Sam Greaves, after a brilliant strategy there, has put himself in second place and in an opportunity to win this race here at Monza. The Lexus at a power circuit looking mighty. Further back, Aberdeen and Ritchie are still going at it. Craig has finally pitted. And Flores as well, just pulling away from Grabino. Archer behind Bolton. And there we see Lee under pressure from Johnson. DJ Phil and Saunders going at it. And Arjun and Wolfsky still going at it as well. Wolfsky gets the position. Only 3 drivers yet to stop. But Kneebone has jumped Greaves. And Vitas has lost out in that second place position. Going to be old rubber. Yes, it is. Greaves has got old tyres on, I reckon. But you don't really need the tyres here. Temperature's relatively cool. As long as you don't push them too hard, they should be fine. I actually found them all right at Zolder, to be fair, and that was a lot hotter there. So there's fights happening all up and down, and there we go. Fandango is in the pits. Through the Parabolica they go. How long has he been stationed there? That is the question. He's gone green now, so he's in a possible good position here. Langley is only now coming to the Parabolica himself. So Greaves here and Fandango going long in the Lexuses have possibly given them a strategy that's put them into the top 10. Fandango here not really going to get a top 3 position, I don't think, unless something happens to the leaders. But he has come out the pits. And out the pits he comes. Where is Langley? There he is. Fandango to the chicane he goes, and strategy has worked out brilliantly for the Lexuses. Fandango P4 and solid points for the 4Q Motorsport duo. So can Greaves now use this advantage to try and attack Kneebone, or has Kneebone just got enough of an advantage to hold on to the lead? And Vitas now gaining on the back of Greaves now. Ritchie going side by side with Best. Best still yet to pit, nor has Unsworth. And I think tomorrow what you'll see is that the pros especially have learned from Zolder, and you'll see a lot of drivers I think will be sticking it out for as long as they possibly can. If they're watching this Pro-Am category as well, they will see that Greaves' strategy has put him into a solid position, but the non-changing tyres is going to be a weakness for him, but Vitas is there in case to pick up the pieces. Reminder as well, if you have been in a top 3 position and is happy to do so, then please head into the Discord later on and I will get an interview with them. Wolfsky and Arjun have come together. Arjun has dropped it and Wolfsky goes through. And we see here Smith and Lexi together. Go through the chicane, there you go. And you see there Smith under pressure from Wheel. Wheel looking to go around the outside of the Curva Grande. Langley right onto the back of Fandango by the list of things. Yes, he is. We'll come back to that in a few moments' time because we've got Smith attacking, Wheel attacking Smith. Smith manages to make the chicane. But has Wheel gone straight on? He's made a little mistake there, so he's lost out there. Vitas now onto the back of Greaves, and I don't think Sam Greaves has really got the threat to attack Kneebone. So now Kneebone can focus on kind of clearing. He's got Wheel in the way, so Wheel jumps straight out of the way. Good job from him. But Sam Greaves and Vitas now going at it. Meanwhile, Langley and, oh, Fandango's gone wide! That's going to give the opportunity for Langley to go down the inside. They get closer into the entrance of Lesmo 1. Fandango holds it up, but bad exit. Langley, better exit. Down the inside now at Lesmo 2. Better on the brakes. Yes, he is. Fandango's going to get pushed out wide. Is there going to be a flash of the lights? No, there's not. Fandango losing out there to the Ferrari. And on old tyres as well, possibly what's hurting him. Now, Best once again holding up the pack. He's got Gravino, Flores, and that's the BMW of Saunders going down the inside to unlap himself and kind of stopping Gravino getting in this fight a little bit. Meanwhile, Vitas has done Greaves. So Greaves now losing that P2 position, but still top 3 at the minute will be great points for him. Nebo, meanwhile, has pulled away. 3.7 is the gap between those two. There is Smith just behind Kneebone, and at the minute, Kneebone has got a car between those two. Langley, though, pulling away from Fandango, and once again, Flores being held up by Best here. Oh, and Flores goes off into the wall and major damage to his car there. Saunders there goes through, and Grabino also trying to go through, as Saunders is a lapped car and is causing a little bit of issues here. And finally lets the Lamborghini driver through. Another close fight by those things is Bell and Lee. They're close to one another, and Johnson's just on the back of him also. So at the minute, your leading bronze driver from the pits is Archer. Obviously, Best is still yet to pit. He's going right to the very end. And once again, the BMW of Saunders passing Grabino, and Grabino's coming back at him again. This is not for position, boys. Greaves, meanwhile, has caught back onto the back of Vitas. If he can keep this sector together, which he does, Vitas takes a lot more curb. But watch that Lexus just pull in the McLaren. Into the toe they go. If he gets a good exit out of Parabolica, I don't see why Greaves won't get the... Oh, he's gone in too tight. He's messed up the entry. And that's it. Vitas can pull away. Greaves just had to be a little bit smoother on the entry, get a better exit, and he would have had the slingshot and would have got past him into turn number one. Down towards the chicane, here we go. And once again, Greaves not able to get close enough. He needs to get a good... Oh, Vitas makes a mistake there. Gets onto the dirt himself. But it's not going to be enough, I don't think. There's a car in the way. Vitas flashing the lights saying, come on, man, get out of my way. I've got a car hunting me down. Brendan Williams in the chat. Nice to see you in the chat, buddy. This race had everything you could have won in a race. It has indeed. Grievous looking to the inside of the second chicane, but can't get close enough and has to back out. Bell, meanwhile, under pressure still from Lee. And, oh, Johnson's gone wide. All over the curb, all over the dirt, but they're still close to one another. This is where the McLaren is better than the Lexus, and you can see it there. Oh, there goes Argent. Off in the background. Oh, and now he holds up Vitas. Greaves. Absolute carnage here. Best now finally pits. Unsworth still going round at the minute. He's trying to leave this out for as long as he possibly can, as Kneebone pulls the gap from Vitas. It is 6.2 now is the gap. And Greaves just dropping further back ever so slightly. Oh, it sounds like, I think Argent's off again. Yes, he is, dropping it into parabolic at the Ascari chicane. And here we go once again between Bell, Lee and Johnson. Bell still carrying out damage on the front. On board with the McLaren driver, here comes Lee in the tow. Can he get the job done in the second chicane? Oh, he's going for it. He's looking. He's gone onto the brakes and he gets the job done. Nicely done there, Lee. Bell drops the rear though, and around he goes. Through goes Johnson, and job done there for those two. Archer though, leading bronze driver, doing a fabulous job. He's ahead of Craig at the minute, and after the pit stops have all panned out, Best is second in bronze with Lexi not too far behind. Nebo still leads this race ahead of Vitas, and Greaves just losing out a little bit of pace here. Langley in a solid P5 at the minute. Obviously all these guys still got to move up due to Unsworth yet to pit. Fandango in P6 with Varga, P7, Clavel, P8, P9 Aberdeen, but under pressure now possibly from Ritchie in P10. Grabina finally clearing the BMW of Saunders, and Flores now in 12th position, but he's got Bolton in the slipstream. Archer now onto the back of Craig, so fight still happening with Lee, Johnson, Bell, Waste and Best rounding off the top 20, and here comes Archer to the outside of Craig. Did Bolton get Flores? Yes, he did, into the chicane, and through he goes. Will Archer get Craig? Craig later on the brakes, down the inside. Job done into the first chicane. Bolton, though, looked like he had a bad exit, but Flores not close enough, possibly due to the damage on the front end of that car, as Lee still holds off Johnson. My voice is starting to go, and I need a drink badly. Unsworth, when does he pull the trigger? Is he going to go right to the very end of the pit window? He's losing time, hand over fist to the leaders, but that's not going to be his issue. He's looking at the Langley, possibly, no, the Varga-Klarbel fight, possibly. And Archer, once again, looking to get onto the back of Craig. Can't quite get there at this stage. Bolton now pulling away from Flores. And through the chicane, there you go. Wheel and Smith still relatively close to one another. And Flores now just losing touch to Bolton. And Archer losing out to Craig a bit. Looks like it's going to be Johnson looking to make the move on Lee. Will go on board with the McLaren driver. A good exit out of Parabolica is what he needed. Didn't really get that. Here comes Johnson. The Aston Martin in the tow. Got quite a grunty car as well as they now head down towards turn number 1. We'll go on board with the helicopter cam. Down the inside they go. Will Johnson outbrake the McLaren? He's going to try his best. He turns in and Lee tries to turn in. The car was there. And Johnson was entitled to racing room. That is all, I think, on the hands of Lee on that one. Johnson gets the job done. Meanwhile, Aberdeen under pressure from the Lamborghini of Ritchie. And Unsworth finally pits. He's the last man to pit and left it pretty much to the end. The question is, where's that going to drop him? He's gone green. And I think he's going to be in this Fandango, possibly Varga fight. Depends how far down the pit lane. He's quite a way down the pit lane. So he's possibly going to be in this Klarbel fight, I reckon. As Unsworth now is about to be released in a few moments' time. I think Klarbel's going to clear him as well, as he's now been released. Yep, there he is. So he's going to stay ahead of Aberdeen and Ritchie. And all the fights seem to have just calmed down ever so slightly. Reminder as well to the Pro-Am drivers, if you are listening to this, the tickets will be open for you to submit. They have 24 hours to get their tickets in. Once the 24 hours is up, you cannot post any more footage in unless you message one of the admin teams saying that either you got work or something else going on and can't able to do it. Then we will sort it out for you. We'll obviously wait for the footage to come in, sorry. We've got 9 and 10 seconds left to go in this race, and what a dramatic race it has been. Monza is coming to an end for Pro-Am. We've still got the pros tomorrow night with Sweet and Sticky in your box. That is Kelly Davis and Matthew Duffin bringing you all the action of the pro category. Greaves, it looks like he's made a mistake. He's 10.2 off the leaders now, and Langley's not far behind. So it's the pros' turn tomorrow night. How are they going to challenge the circuit Monza? And then once we have that, we then head to our third round of the season. Third race of the season will be Zandvoort, heading to the Netherlands, the home of Max Verstappen, the home of the Orange Army. And who's going to come out on top of there? But it's been a fantastic night's worth of racing. And at the minute, Kneebone well and truly under control. Brendan Williams in the chat. Stewards are in for a busy week. And this excludes the pro race. Feel in the chat as long as they don't take the P. And hopefully they won't, because yeah, sadly I'm away on the weekend as well. I will not be able to do much of the tickets, as I'll be in Alton Park, or I'll try my best to. Watching the British Touring Car Championship, and any of the guys is heading to Alton Park, drop me a message and we'll try and meet up and have a beer or something. or anyone in SimPlay who is going to Autumn Park, then let me know. It's going to be a hot weekend, I know that. I'm hot in here just commentating on this. It has been hot action on the track, and here we go, more action. This is Wolfsky, I think, unlapping himself from Lee. And down towards the chicane they go. Archer getting back onto the back of Craig. Johnson now onto the back of Archer as well. Lee's not too far behind as well, so it's all Constantining up. And we've got also Smith and Will going at it. Not sure who's ahead of them. That is a Lexus trying to lap. Best and Lexi who are going side by side. That is Sam trying to clear them. And there, Bestie gets out of the way of the leaders. Lexi now has to do the same, allowing Sam Greaves through. That's held up Sam quite a bit. And there is Langley. Can Sam hold on to a podium position here? Best has missed his brakes. He's missed his brakes and gone straight on. Lexi, meanwhile, side by side with Langley. Langley goes wide and into the gravel. A little bit of mess there from the back markers there, as the leaders came through, and that has given Sam Greaves a little bit of breathing room. Has got Varga now onto the back of Fandango. So this is the problem that they have now. The tyres are probably screaming at them. They're absolutely screeching and wanting to give up. They do not want to be racing no more. And they've still got to get around for another 6 minutes yet. Down towards the Ascari chicane comes Fandango. He's got still the pressure of Varga, and Smith allows them through relatively easy. And there, Bolton now onto the back of the Lamborghini of Grabino. So he has now gained a little bit of positioning after a bad start to this race. He's worked his way up the order a little bit. Johnson now has cleared Craig and Archer. And Lee's also got past Archer as well. So the pit window has now finally closed, as we're now coming to the end of this race. The 107 driver track limits. Who is that? That is Wolfsky. Not really going to affect this race too much here, but he is now got a drive-through penalty to serve. If it doesn't get worse, it gets horrendously worse for some drivers. Now Lee onto the back of Craig here, pretty much pushing the McLaren driver. Going around the outside is Lee. Is he going to get the job done on Craig? He's going to try and be later on the brakes. Craig pretty much losing out there, and Lee gets the job done. Archer taking more of the curb. Archer hanging in there for the bronze position. And there we see Nuke Waste getting out of the way of your race leader, which is Kneebone. Going on through. Vitas in P2 at the minute, with Greaves in P3, being hunted down by Langley though, so still all to play for. Langley wants to finish on the podium. Championship leader at the minute. Oh, and Varga has a snap there through Lesmo 1. Reminder as well, going to Zandvoort, the drop scores will start to take effect, and what that is basically your worst score from each round will be basically taken away from the overall championship points. So it gives people a chance who's unable to make every race, maybe miss a couple occasional here and there, gives them the opportunity to still be in for a championship fight. And that'll be in effect at Zandvoort, but another reverse grid coming up there, and it's going to be interesting how that will all pan out. But Fandango there, flashing lights, he wants cars out of his way. Wolski gets his drive-through done. But Greaves and Langley, for me, is the fight to keep an eye on. Langley a little bit tight into turn one. I think he's probably had a slide of some form, and he's going to lose a little bit of time here to him. I think he will. Yes, he will. Meanwhile, Grabino and Bolton going at it. Heading now down to the Parabolica. Oh, they get close, and there Bolton hits the back of Grabino. They have to wait. Flores is coming now. Can Lamborghini get it going? He's struggling to do so. Bolton's in the middle of the track. He has to move because here comes a flying Flores. He gains a position there. Bolton losing out. And Bolton has to drop back behind Flores as Grabino has got going. But here comes Johnson. Johnson now making a few more positions up into 13th position. Meanwhile, Kneebone has lost time. 4 seconds is the gap between him and Vitas. As Greaves now sat in P3, pulling away. Oh, Langley's had a slide. Looks like he's trying to clear Bell. Oh, Bell. Oh, Langley doesn't look too happy, I'm afraid. I think with that, I think Langley's a pad driver. Yes, he is by the looks of things. And Fandango's now catching on to the back. Oh, Varga goes wide. I think that's also Best and Wheel going at it as well, further back. As where is Kneebone? He now exits the final. Johnson, track limits! After all that hard work again in the 13th place position, he's going to drop down the order. Kneebone now starts his final lap. Johnson, drive-through penalty. He has to do it this lap. Meanwhile, Lee there trying to clear Saunders. Oh, and he's gone deep. And he's kind of holding up Lee here, who wants to... why is Saunders fighting him? Oh, so he don't know if he was trying to get out of the way, but he had a poor exit either way. Meanwhile, Best is being chased by Wheel. He's trying to break the toe. And we thought Genetics was spicy. This is next up. Yeah, it's very much so right. And now Bolton is onto the back of Flores. So Bolton, after dropping the position, is now straight back onto him. Bestie, meanwhile, has he hold on to that position against Wheel? He has so far. Smith's getting onto the back of him. Lexi Marshall dropped further back. But where is Kneebone? He's in the middle sector. We'll come back to him as Varga now is onto the back of Fandango. And to the inside goes to BMW, but there's a car in the way. That's waste. That saved Fandango briefly for a second. He's just going to hold on for half a lap. Johnson now does his drive-through. Nebo nearly to the end here. But Fandango trying to hold on. Richie slow apparently. Yes, he is. He's very slow. But we go to Kneebone. Team Audio Sport gets a win on the board. 8 seconds ahead. It is Kneebone in the McLaren who takes the race win. The fastest lap here at Monza. Congratulations to him. Here comes Vitas now out of the final corner for a solid P2 position. Strong job from him. And Sam Greaves, with that strategy, has taken the Lexus back onto the podium position. Congratulations to Sam. Langley, in the end, has to settle for P4. Has Fandango hang on in there? Yes, he will. Varga right to the very end. Awesome racing there as Gary Carble now exits the final corner. And he's going to take a solid P7 on that one. Unsworth, P8. Great driving there. Aberdeen, in the end, exits the final corner. Will finish in P9 in the top 10 position. Richie is going to be a P10, but he's very slow. I don't know if he's having to save fuel. We'll stay on board of him. And into the final corner he goes. He's very, very slow. Until the line he comes, he just manages to stay ahead of Flores. Then Bolton is lost out. Bolton's lost out to Grabino Lee, and he finishes in 14th. Craig in the end will finish in 15th. Archer in 16th. Bell in 17th. Johnson is going to finish in 18th. Then it's Waste, Best, who manages to hold off Wheel. Lexi Marshall, Saunders, Smith, DJ Phil, Andrews, Old Sim Racer, Argent, and Taylor, and Williams as well, who's already left the session. which doesn't help. But that is that. I will now get the replays up on your, the highlights anyway, up on your screen. Wow, what a race. What a race. I'll be back in a few moments' time as I will get the Discord ready so that we are able to do some interviews. I'll be back with you momentarily. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay. We have now got the interview room up and ready to go. We do have a driver to interview as well. We've got the highlights up on the screen as well while the tables are being updated. Obviously, driver of the day is down to you guys to drop in the chat. I don't have time to type it all out, so if you do want to get your votes in on driver of the tap, then please do so. And in the chat with us, we have got Sam Greaves in Alexis. Sam, what a race. Absolute carnage, absolute chaos, but in the end, a P3 for yourself.
Yeah, to be fair, after qualifying I was expecting better, and then after the first corner I was expecting a lot worse. That didn't quite go to plan. I got a really good start on green, got my nose in front, and then a couple of the guys behind decided that they didn't want to stop. Which was very unfortunate for the pole sitter. We ended up going wide. I think you got quite a bit of damage. And then it was quite an interesting race after that. To be fair, I took full fuel, no tyre change, which was touch and go on whether or not that would be a good strategy. I'm still not entirely sure that it was, but yeah, it was an interesting 70 minutes around Monza, and it's not very often I can say that about Monza.
Obviously, what's in your advantage, especially around this circuit, obviously I know quite well, the Lexus is very powerful in a straight line, and obviously yourself and Fandango, I'm assuming that's Borobex, you both came into this probably knowing how strong the Lexus is around this circuit. Is that kind of why you thought, well, we might as well go full fuel and go long and see what we can do with that?
Yeah, to be fair, it's pretty strong all around the track. It's relatively good on its tyres as well around here, which I wouldn't have done the same if I was still in a BMW. I think that would definitely have been a 50-50 on fuel and tyres. But the Lexus was pretty good. We spoke at the start about how qualifying would go and whether we would change that tactic if we could get up near the front. And obviously starting second, I was very tempted to split and go 50-50 and take tyres and try and get away a little bit. But I'm glad I didn't, to be honest. I think saving that time in the pits definitely gained me a few spaces. It was a tough first few laps. Got stuck behind a number of cars that were definitely slower than I was, even with full fuel. But that extra fuel did make it a bit difficult, and I didn't want to push too hard because I didn't want to kill the tyres, knowing I was going to need to keep them under me for 70 minutes. So yeah, it was just head down, be nice and clean, try not to make any mistakes. And then unfortunately for me, I did exactly that twice and spun the car twice at the first chicane, completely out of nowhere, totally down to me. It was absolutely bizarre. I've got no idea what was going on. I just lost the car, and it cost me about 20 seconds, and I noticed I finished about 18 seconds behind the leader. I think it could have been a really good race if it wasn't for those two errors. But the car is very strong here. It's not so strong as some of the rest of the tracks that you've got coming up, which will be interesting. But didn't quite make the most of that pole, or almost pole lap, 1,000th, or 1/10,000th of a second off, which was a bit frustrating. But
I was going to say,
good race all round.
Go on.
Yeah.
I was going to get on to that qualifying session. How frustrated were you when you looked up and saw it was 1,000th of a second? Like, literally a hairline.
To be honest, I wasn't actually frustrated at all. The lap that I set the time on, I didn't think was a quick lap. I had another car not far in front. And I was shocked when I went over the line and saw 47.7. That is 4/10 faster than I've ever gone around Monza before in any car. So I got no idea where that lap came from, to be perfectly frank, and I was just really happy that I'd done it. And if I'd have been 10th or 20th for that time, I'd have been happy, to be perfectly honest, Dan. So it didn't really matter that I was that close to pole in the end. If anything, actually, it worked out to be a good thing, because if it was me on pole, it would have been me that got collected on the first corner. So small mercies. I think someone was watching out for me tonight on that one, and I was lucky to be starting second, not first.
Well, obviously, the one thing I also want to ask, obviously, the way we've changed the rules this year, obviously, extra 10 minutes, we've added the fuel in as well with the timer. How much of a difference is that making? How much are you guys having to think? Because obviously, majority of the cars can do the full run. I believe the Ferrari is the only car that can really do 120 litres for the entire race. But it really does throw it out. You can add tyres, but it costs you 30 seconds. If you don't add tyres, then you can only add 15 seconds for the fuel, or you just go full tank and hope that you can do it. How much are you guys having to think in this race because of that?
Yeah, a lot. To be honest, it's very, very borderline on exactly how you're going to play it. And one of the other guys that was in our chat was involved in an incident right at the start, jumped straight into the pits as soon as they opened, but didn't have enough capacity in the fuel tank to put enough fuel in to be able to get through the full 70 minutes. So then ended up having to fuel save for the last 10 minutes of the race, in order to be able to get to the end without doing another pit stop. So you've set the rules in a way that it's really on the bubble in terms of what you do and how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think some of the tracks, when you get to the likes of Snetterton, that's going to be straightforward. It's very likely going to be 50-50 and change tyres, and it is what it is. But tracks like this, it's touch and go, and really, literally, until we got on the grid doing our final setups before we decided exactly which way we was going to go. It's that tight. And you're also looking at the cars around you after quali, who's in front, who's behind, where am I sitting, because that might even change the strategy. So you've got to have both strategies all strategies set up really before you go into qualifying. So you've got that option because there isn't a definite right way to go here in particular.
Obviously, speaking of tight, twisty circuits, the next circuit on the calendar is Zandvoort. We go to the Netherlands. It was carnage here at Monza, which there's overtaking opportunities. Zandvoort, on the other hand, very tight, and also the new reverse grids. Obviously, the way that works out, how much of a difference is that making? And obviously, talk us about Zandvoort and what the plan is there.
Yeah, I actually like Zandvoort. It's generally a pretty good track for me, to be fair. I'm quite looking forward to it. I think my biggest concern is the back markers. There was some very interesting back marker behaviour tonight again, which was a little bit frustrating, to be fair. I was in the end ended up being quite lucky to end up third. I noticed that that Langley, that was behind me in fourth and was catching me fast, got held up really a lot in the second from last lap, which probably saved my podium, to be honest. So that was frustrating at times, and not always when they were racing other cars as well. Just some people just they were bored and decided they wanted to race the leaders as they were coming through. I'm not really sure what was going on in their minds, and even worse were the ones who didn't realise you were there until you were right on their bumper and then panicked and stopped mid corner, which was interesting and difficult. At Zandvoort, obviously that's 10 times more difficult. You haven't got the space that you've got here. You haven't got the straights to power through. You can kind of size up who you're coming up behind here to a certain extent. There's very little room to manoeuvre at Zandvoort, so I think it's going to come down to luck to a certain extent with the leaders on how they get on with the traffic. Hopefully we can get the message across, and the people that are a lap or more down have got their eyes behind them as well as in front of them. In terms of the grid mix, I think it's definitely better in terms of knowing that you've got people in front of you and around you that are closer to your pace, and so you haven't got quite that difficulty of coming through the pack, particularly on the sprint races. 15 minutes now. That extra 5 minutes that you've shaved off with the pit stop still in there, you don't actually get a lot of free racing time. So I think too many people will be encouraged to try and make up too many places too quickly under the old system. So I much prefer the new one, where it is a bit difficult, particularly on tracks like this where you've got a really tight first corner, is if you're leading the silver positions, if you like, you are mid-pack with all of the AM drivers right behind you, and that can be a little bit panicky going into turn one. So I don't want to say anything too disrespectful to the AMs. So that there's some good drivers in there and all try hard, but it is a little bit, you clench a little bit tighter going into turn one when you're in that position. I'm not there yet, and I might not be there for a few weeks, but if I can stay clean next week, I might be there by week 3.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the podium today, and we'll catch you at Zandvoort next week.
Yeah, good to see and hear you, Dan. I shall be watching the stream now. I'm sure it's great.
Congratulations, mate. And that is that. We will now head towards Zandvoort for the next round of the season. And regarding the championship standings, it is Langley leading the way ahead of Fandango in second, with Vitas in P3. In P4 is Unsworth, then Flores, then Varga, then it is Wolfsky, Aberdeen, Old Team Racer, Bolton, Lee, Greaves, Krabel, then it is Kneebone, Saunders. I'm not sure why all these guys have now come into the party chat. I'm just going to switch to the comms box. So we've got Kneebone in 14th, Saunders 15th, Bell in 16th, Craig in 17th, Richie 18th, 19th is Archer. Then in 20th is Johnson, De Block in 21st, Grabino in 22nd, S. Williams in 23rd, Waste in 24th, P. Williams 25th, Wood Goodwill in 26th, Smith, Marshall, Dempsey, Taylor, DJ Phil, Argent, Wheel, Best, Andrews and Betterson. And then Roy, the only one to then score a point. Regarding the team's championship, it is No Gas, No Glory leading away ahead of 4Q Motorsport with Greasy Bandits Racing in P3, NLR Racing P4, Cloud9 Racing in P5, OWR Racing P6, Soldor Racing P7, Team Audio Sport P8 with Black and Blue Racing in P9, Lexi Industries in 10, with Team GBR ahead of Team Merlot, 13 for SimPlay Racing, 2Cs Racing, Rapid Rabbits GT, OGR, Quantum Motorsport are the ones to still score a point. That is it for the Pro-Ams. Next up for us this week is the Pro category. Tomorrow night, their turn to head around Monza, and we'll see how they all get on. But for myself and all the Pro-Ams, we will see you all in a week's time as we head to the home of Max Verstappen, the Orange Army. We head to Netherlands at Zandvoort. But for myself and everyone here at SimPlay Motorsport, it is a good night.